Hi guys, welcome to the video for the Uno Fitness that I talked about previously. Now you can play this with a partner and choose to just play it like a normal Uno game where when your opponent puts a card down there is a response that you need to do, which is fitness based. So it might be 10 star jumps for a yellow card from 1 to 9, might be 10 mountain climbers for red cards, and obviously the skip, the reverse, the draw, fall, wilds, and etc. also have their penalties, I guess, or consequences that come along with it, as well as drawing those extra cards or whatever the case may be. So skills that you need to be able to play this game is, first of all, to be able to run a relay race, and second of all, you need to be able to play and understand the rules of Uno. Now, there would be a couple of stages that I would build this. First of all, I would have a game of Uno and just demonstrate a game of Uno. Then I would perhaps do the relay side with the Uno. So the kids are coming out and just playing a game of Uno, having to run between the different piles. Thirdly, I would have two different stacks for the active games. So one team is going to be building up a stack of cards for the opposing team to have to do the exercises for that correspond to those particular cards. But while they're making that stack, even though it's their own cards that they're putting cards on top of, they still need to be within those normal rules of Uno. So you can only put colours on the same colours or numbers on the same numbers. Or with a wild, you can pretty much pick whichever one you want though too. Once you've done that, then you're ready to progress to the whole game. Hi everyone, this is the Uno Relay Fitness Challenge. It took a little while to iron out a few kinks, but I think this is the best way that we've found that it works. So I'll just quickly take you through it. The main difference is just there, the active game cards. We've included a stack for each team, and it seems to make it a little bit less confusing. You can still play it with one, but if one team's getting punished for doing more things and having to draw cards all the time, it just gets a little bit confusing. So I find it has worked better now. So check it out, and yeah, the kids have really enjoyed it, so give it a go. So down this bottom end, we've got the two large orange cones where the teams line up behind. When I say go, they need to run out to the two orange cones up here where they'll find a sheet with their coloured mat. So they first need to do the exercise that responds to the card on the top. This one being a red 4 for the yellow team. They need to look up on the board, which we have here. Numbers 1 to 9 need to do 10 star jumps. They then need to come back and do their 10 star jumps before going to their hand and playing one of their cards onto the purple team's stack. Okay. If they can't play a card onto that stack, which these guys can't, they will need to run out, grab a card from the spares playing deck, pick it up. If they can play it on the way back, they may. In this case, they can't. So they add it to their hand, run back, and tag the next player. So each time a player comes out, the first thing they need to do is check their active deck, which is just here with their colour. What card is it? They perform the exercise, and occasionally they need to pick up cards if it's a draw 4 or a draw 2 as well. Then they need to come back to their hand and then play a card onto the opposing team's side. The game continues back and forth until one team has one card left. When they've got one card left, they must call out Uno. If they forget to call out Uno, they need to head back up to the spares deck and pick out another 4 cards to add to their hand. A couple of things to consider with this is making sure that players are actually putting cards on the top of the stack so they know which one is the active card for the other team. The other thing is the stack up the end, the spares deck, If they knock that over, so they've got to be a little bit careful when they're picking the card up, but if they knock it over, then there is some penalty for that. And in this game, you might have seen on the board, they had to stack it back up and do 5 rotating squat jumps. We've had a real good time with this game today. It is very, very active, super fast, and quite technical as well. So we found that the teams that actually played a bit of Uno and had kids with the knowledge of Uno actually did better than the kids that were just racing around and just putting whatever work down. So they can actually line up colours and numbers to suit their hands so that they can play them out. So look, enjoy it, give it a go, and we'll catch you next time. Hi everyone, behind me you've got Uno Fitness set up. I'll take you through it in a second, but this is a relay race where you're using Uno cards and the rules of normal Uno to get active and get some fitness into your kids, and it's a hoot to play it yourself as well. I'll just walk you through it. We've got our 2 bottom cones here where the 2 teams line up opposing each other. On go, they need to run out, see what the active game card is, and complete the activity. Now you can make the activities whatever you want, but I've got mine displayed on a board and I've got some suggested activities on the list with the information. So once they've done their 10 star jumps in this case, then they need to quickly select a card from their stack to place onto the active game pile. Once they've done that, they can return and tag the next person in their team. If they don't have an eligible card to play, then they need to run further up to the end of the board where the spares deck is, grab a card. They may choose to put it back down if they can, otherwise they just put it with their team's pile, run back and tag the next person. If the active game card changes while you're doing your activities, you don't need to repeat the fitness activity, but you will need to respond with a different card of that particular colour or number or whatever before you can make your way back to the teammate and tag the next one. When your cards stack is down to 1, you must call out Uno on the way back, otherwise you need to pick up 4 cards from the spares deck up the top here. If your penalty is to do a draw 2 or a draw 4, then you must do the activities, pick up the cards, drop them in your team's pile before tagging the next person. If you come up and your team has put down the draw 2 or the draw 4 on the active pile, you need to do the activities, then play another card that suits, but you don't actually need to pick up the extra cards from the card pile.